Go Jackets.
What is going on, everyone? And welcome to WreckTalk. I don't know why I'm looking up like there's something up there. It's just the ceiling. Hope y'all are having a good day. It's game week. Georgia Tech had a bye last week. It was nice. I think it was well placed. I've said on the live shows, I think the bye week is nice coming after a really emotional win on the road at Miami. Had a press conference that came out yesterday where Key actually talked about, he was asked about, how great he's been able to be on the road, and it seems like we really struggle at home. And he said, hey, he's not one to change things on a whim emotionally, but the thing with a home game on Fridays, those kids are in class. When it's a road game, they're on the plane taking a nap on their way to wherever they're going. So he's going to change it to where the routine is exactly the same for a home game as it is for an away game, which I think is pretty smart. He was also asked about Kevin Scherer having a bye week, and he kind of gives his way of being funny. They're going to do a 3-3-5 stack now, total new defense, total new playbook. He thinks they have it in 3 days. Obviously, he's joking, but it's kind of hard to tell with Key because he's not the greatest joke teller. But a lot of good things in that press conference. I'll probably put that out as a members only video. If you want to become a member of the channel, by the way, there is a join button right below the title of the video if you're on computer. If not, there's a link in the description of the video. I think if you're on your cell phone, it doesn't show, but there is a link in the description of the video, as well as a Discord group. By the way, if you are a member, hit me up so I can add you to the members only chat where a lot of those reaction videos are. I also reacted to what Josh Pate had to say about Georgia Tech, so if you want to see that, become a member today. Let's get into Boston College. And I'll be honest with you, this game does scare me a little bit, especially, like I said, coming on the heels of this emotional win and with how inconsistent Georgia Tech has been this year, right? Right now we're trailing, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win. We're winning and losing every other game. In the beginning of the season, the offense was on fire. The defense struggled. We're playing really bad, particularly at linebacker. Now, in the second half of this first, however many games, 5 games, offense has really struggled. Defense has been really good. Now, I've said if you watch the video about Miami tipping their plays, another thing that I'm kind of worried about, we most likely had an advantage defensively in that game because Miami's coaching staff decided to allow their running back to tip whether it was a run or a pass. So I don't know exactly how good the defense is under Kevin Scherer. That's something we'll have to prove this game. Now, it's a very winnable game. It's a game we're favored in, I think, by 2.5 points up to this point. It's a game we should win at home. But let's look at Boston College. So they opened up the year, lost to NIU. If you're a Tech fan, you don't want to talk about Northern Illinois. We can't at all trash talk them for losing to Northern Illinois. They lost 24-27. They've had 3 games this year where the score was either 24-27 or 27-24. Maybe there's some conspiracy there. We'll have to see. Won a tight one to Holy Cross that should have never been close if you're Boston College, 31-28. And then the shocker, they play Florida State close in the 3rd game of the season. They lose only by a field goal, 31-29. There's a lot that's been said about that game. Evidently, Florida State got hit by the flu bug. That being said, probably should have never been close. So keep that in mind. Look, any team can get it together for a game and play really, really well, and you gotta be ready for that if you're Georgia Tech. This team has the ability, evidently, to play Florida State close. They're one of the 2 undefeated teams in our conference right now with North Carolina, and they played them tough. Now, they do get blown out by Louisville, who Tech played close, 56-28. Win a close one against Virginia at home, 27-24, and then they beat Army 27-24. So it's I tell you what my takeaway is from Boston College. A lot of the problems that Boston College has are a lot of the same problems that Georgia Tech has, especially on defense. They're an inconsistent team. They tend to struggle on defense at linebacker, filling gaps, being in position, and on the defensive line. They really struggle getting pressure on the quarterback. We're going to look at some film toward the end of the video. Now, points per game and total defense are near the bottom of the barrel. Total offense, they're scoring 27.7 points a game. That's good enough for 78th in the country. Total defense, almost as bad as you can be. They're giving up 31, almost 32 points a game. 111th ranked defense in the country. And the killer thing for Boston College, I do think this team could be, instead of 3-3, 5-1 right now. Brent Key talked about this in the press conference as well. There are a few plays. They're two plays away from being 5-1. I don't think Boston College is as bad or as terrible as a lot of people perceive them to be. The Achilles heel for them has been turnovers. They're 77th in the country for turnover differential, turnover margin. They're -1 right now. They're averaging a turnover, I think it was listed 0.17. So that's about 1 out of every 5 games they're going to cough the ball up. But that's a little bit deceptive. There's been a lot of turnovers or fumbles that they've been able to recover. They've definitely got an issue with turnovers. Now, I would like to mention, because all of these stats are relative to your strength of schedule, right? So where does Boston College strength of schedule match up? It's not good. 80th in the country in strength of schedule. So I kind of just put Boston College over as being a team that's a little bit better than probably what a lot of people think they are. Still, with their strength of schedule, where they are in like total offense and defense, this is a game on paper. Tech should be able, I think, to get a 10-point victory in. Now, that being said, on paper, Miami should have blown us off the field. That's why you play the games, right? So this is not a team, nor any team we play, including Virginia as well, that you can overlook. You got to be prepared, ready to play at Bobby Dodd, especially when we haven't played well at home really this year, right? Yeah, we haven't played well at home this entire year. We probably haven't played well at home since Duke last year, right? The second game that Key took over. Now, the whole story with Boston College is not a good team. They do have a really good piece, though. Thomas Castanelos is their quarterback. He is everything Boston College has. Everything in their offense that happens runs through him. He's a little bit young. He's a sophomore. He's a Georgia kid, though. He's from Waycross, Georgia. He's thrown for 1,143 yards up to this point, 10 touchdowns on 5 interceptions, completing about 57% of his passes. But, man, is this kid a run threat. If you let this kid run on you, you are going to have a long day. He did it against Florida State. He also threw for 305 yards, a touchdown interception against Florida State in that close game. So he does have the ability to put the ball downfield. He does have a strong arm. He does have wheels on him that will make you pay. Now, we've talked about running quarterbacks as opposed to quarterbacks that can run. He's really more of a running quarterback. He will sit in the pocket from time to time, make a good throw, but his inexperience shows, of those 5 picks, most of them are pretty ugly. He will throw it into double coverage, triple coverage. He won't make the best decision sometimes, and then sometimes he will make an absolutely outstanding throw. He'll look like the best quarterback in the world from time to time, too. Again, Boston College is an inconsistent team. Georgia Tech is an inconsistent team as well. Though the quarterback does have the tools to be really, really good, he's also inconsistent. He's ran for 500 yards and 7 touchdowns, though, so he accounts for 17 total touchdowns for them on the year. if Georgia Tech is going to win this game, and if they are going to win by the margin that I kind of expect them to, you got to stop this kid from running. I've said that I think that the goal for Tech, we might even have to spy him all night. If you force this kid to throw and take away his ability to run, I think that's a victory for Georgia Tech. Now, where does Georgia Tech line up nationally? We're scoring 30.8 points a game. Gets us about a little better than middle of the pack at 54th in the country. Giving up 29, though, not very good, 91st in the country. The thing that's really turned the tide for Tech as of late, though, and really thinking of Wake Forest and Miami, we were, plus 8 turnover margin, 10 total turnovers for Tech, or good for Tech between those two games. We're 28th in the country, +1 in the turnover margin this year. Now, we talked about their quarterback. Haynes King has kind of been the tale of two quarterbacks this year, hasn't he? The past two games, not been very good. Like I've said, I'm sure he'll be the first one to tell you didn't play his best games in that. But has thrown for 1,631 yards. He's either second or third in the ACC with that. 16 touchdowns. The killer for him has been the 6 picks it's come with. 3 of those have been really, really bad picks too. So, and really to me, those are where we've been struggling offensively, and he's just tried to force things that weren't there, and in some instances where nothing could ever be construed as being there. He's also ran for 222 yards and 2 touchdowns. So, like I said, the tail of this game is going to be rounding in Boston College's quarterback. Haynes King and we'll see in film, or the clips that I've pulled, he's going to have time to throw most likely, unless they just commit to blitzing everything they have all night. Haynes King's going to have time to throw. It's going to be on him to make good decisions, put the ball where it needs to be, which I believe that he can, pick his spots running the football, and then not allowing Castanello, Boston College's quarterback, to just run all over you. With that being said, let's go look at some of these clips. So, like I said, this is against Holy Cross, a team that really Boston College should be able to get a good bit of pressure on. I'm not even going to go into like alignment and stuff. This video will be way too long as is. Basically, the guy's going to have time. They're going to cover well. So, look, Boston College do they have the best defensive backs in the world? No, but they have the ability to cover wide receivers. They're not the worst. Other thing is their Holy Cross's quarterback does a good job at taking the snap, but it doesn't look like he was ready for it. Like, basically, as soon as he turns around, this ball snapped. So look at this. And I'm kind of confused as to their linebackers. They come way up here. So I get, like, if you're blitzing, get up there. If not, you need to kind of be back in coverage. So to me, they kind of look a little bit out of position here. This guy has absolutely all day to throw. Ends up completing it. So I thought the next play he takes off and runs with it. But look, any quarterback that you give this kind of time, looks like, is it 5 here that ends up with the ball? Looks like he just runs right up field, puts the ball in a good spot. Not horrible coverage there either. You just can't give the guy that much time to throw the ball. I don't know if that was a PI or what they called or holding, but let's look at the next play. Another play where they just don't get much pressure. Now, Boston College likes to run, they'll run 4-3 a lot in a nickel. They like to kind of walk a guy up, not have him in the 3-point or 4-point stance. Holy Cross does a good job here. You can see that they've got, with this imbalance set, really Boston College's defense leaning all this way, and they motion a guy toward that imbalance. Again, so they bring 4, not able to get any pressure. They do cover here, but again, you give this guy enough time, he's going to find a running lane. Missed tackle, that's also been an issue. I said these defenses have similar issues. Tackling's been an issue for Boston College this year as well. Got to make that tackle. And he just absolutely runs over the guy, gets in the end zone. Not a good look for Boston College there. You should be able to make the tackle, and at a minimum, the guy shouldn't send you into the next universe with contact either. Look at another play. They bring 4 again, and this tackle does a great job. He's a little bit beat here, but he just runs with him. Quarterback does a good job at stepping up into the quarterback, stepping up into the pocket, and he'll take off and run again. So look, Georgia Tech, Haynes King, mobile quarterback. I expect him to have a decent day running and throwing the ball. We'll see. I mean, you play a different version of a team every week, though. Just based on what I see, though, this should be a prime opportunity for Haynes King to step up and play like the quarterback he did like in the first 3 games of the season. Now, Jamal Haynes has had a really, really good year for us at running back. Been a little bit streaky, too, with the run game. Just wanted to show this to show defensively. Now, they end up bringing let's see, 1, 2, 4. They end up bringing 6 here, and they just kind of run right into it for a big gang. So you can gash them. You can gash them on the ground, too. Boston College's defense, has struggled a good bit this year. So I'm hoping Tech can have can get back on track offensively against them. But you're going to have to execute. Whoever that pulling guard was that picked up the linebacker did a great job there. Like I said, their linebackers have had trouble with positioning, getting blocked, getting taken out of plays like our linebackers have at other points throughout the year. So let's look at the Boston College offense. Now, they run an offense very similar to what Tech runs, kind of runs this spread balance set. Now you're going to see what I'm saying with how deadly this guy can be with his legs. He is a fantastic athlete. Look right here. Got him dead to rights, don't they? Nope. He's got wheels, buddy. I mean, look at that. You go from here. I mean, how many people think he's going to score here? No, and it's third down, mind you. Nope. Makes kind of 2 moves there. Just leg talent gets him into the end zone. Like we've said, everything Boston College offense has to do with Castanelos. I think that's his name. So here he brought this up in his press conference. Boston College does a very good job, particularly on offense. Defensively, I think they've got a lot of improvement to make, but to playing toward the strengths of their offense. So here, it's a good idea to use motion, get the defense leaning one way, and use the speed of your quarterback's legs. You get him leaning this way, and he's going to go right into the teeth of it, bounce it, touchdown. Like I said, if you do not contain this guy on the ground, if you do not contain him to the pocket, if you let him run on you, that's one equation for Georgia Tech losing. It's going to be a very, very long day for us. So what does that mean? Again, our linebackers are going to have to do a really good job at honing him in. It would not hurt my feelings if we take our most athletic linebacker, maybe Andre White, and just spy him all night or all day. I'm okay with that. Now, he can hurt you with his arm. Oh, I guess I didn't do full screen on this. That's okay. It's a little play action. He's got time. Really good velocity on the ball there. So, like I said, they have trouble with the turnover bug here. They end up recovering it. That's another equation for Georgia Tech winning and winning by some kind of margin. I think that Boston College will put the ball on the ground a few times. I don't even know. They might rule that incomplete. Hard to say. There's another fumble. So they do a lot of design quarterback runs. Obviously, he's the best player they have, and he's got a lot of speed. They're going to play to that. Gets a first down, coughs up the ball. So he has been, prone to not protect the ball as well as he probably should. Again, it's going to come down to how good are we going to be up front, and particularly how good are we going to be at linebacker play. Are we going to see the linebacker play from Wake Forest and Miami? Are we going to see the linebacker play from second half Louisville, South Carolina State, Ole Miss? Now, their leading rusher is their quarterback with 500 yards, 7 touchdowns, like I said, but they can run on you too. And they do have a fairly experienced, pretty fundamentally sound offensive line as well. That's probably another important, stat for this game or matchup is who wins between Georgia Tech's offensive line and Boston College defensive line. I do think Georgia Tech's offensive line is a good bit better than Boston College's defensive line. Then it might come down to, can Georgia Tech's defensive line get a lot of pressure, be very disruptive? That's not as clear to me, but I do think our defensive line has, if I had to grade it right now, I'd say it's about a push. They're about Equal. Georgia Tech's defensive line and Boston College's offensive line are about equal. If anything, Boston College's offensive line might be a tad bit better in that matchup. Now, like I said, he does make bad decisions. He does try and force the ball. So here, this is against Virginia, I believe. He's rolling out. And this is really a situation where he should just throw the ball away or run out of bounds. It's a 4th and 6. So maybe it's not as bad because you're going to have to punt anyways, but throws a pick there. They definitely get better field position with the pick. Watch it one more time. It's like a comeback route that he's throwing here. Just no chance that your wide receiver is going to make that play. Now, here's a very similar play, but I chose this because I want you to see the guy does have zip on the ball. The guy possesses very good arm talent and arm strength. I think he's just young and he's still developing as a quarterback. So this is a similar play, rollout, hitting like a comeback route. Look at the velocity on that ball. Pretty good. Pretty good velocity, really, really good throw on the run. So that's probably another kind of key to victory for Tech. Contain them and get a little bit of pressure on him. If you do give the guy a lot of time, he'll find he has the arm talent to make difficult throws and to find the open guy. So with that, let me switch back over. That's kind of my preview for the game. I do think Georgia Tech should win this. I do think we win this probably by 2 scores. I think with the bye week that really helps Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech improving every week. Boston College struggling a little. I do think we find that consistency pick up our second win. If I had to give a score prediction, I'd probably say 31-21 Georgia Tech. But am I super confident in that? No, I'm not. I'll take a win any way we can get it. Something else Key talked about today is he's kind of asked about the details and particulars of how they've done up to this point in the season, and Key just said 3-3. That's the only thing that matters. That's the only thing we're judged on. Obviously, he looks at it deeper than that because the guy asking the question said that. But he said at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is winning. That's it. And I'm so glad to hear him say that. It's such a, refreshing thing to hear coming from where we've been with a lot of, we're still really good, whatever. No, Just go win football games. Also, Kelly Quinlan got lashed a little bit. He was trying to set the record for longest question in history ever asked in a press conference. And I'm so glad that Key called him out. Like, Jesus Christ, dude, can you consolidate that? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, no, I'll do it for you. This is what you're asking. So, like, Key pretty much interpreted his question, asked it better, and then answered it. So, with that being said, let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you're a Boston College fan, let me know kind of what you think of this game. I'm sure it's similar but opposite result maybe. Y'all have a good one. And if no one's told you today, WreckTalk loves you.